Yeah, you know what time it is. Come brawl with them boys of the fall. Covered in gray and scarlet, massive, stiff arms to your jaw. We breaking it. We sick of seeing you clowns with the crown. We taking it. Number one flaws, you don't know ball. We taking advantage of that. Got you Karens asking where the manager at. With no cap, no time for the amateur rap. Look, man, we got dogs all over the depth chart. Monsters on the roster. Straighten up that posture. Rooting out you imposters. Silver bullets in the chamber. And a D-line full of danger. Step back when that linebacker trigger, when he pull it, it'll bang ya. Running backs running downhill. Touchdown on your IG reel. Better check the stats, buddy, it's straight facts over how you feel. Whenever I speak, I'm giving you more bars than German Village or North and High Street. And you know, the average Joe can do nothing with my flow. It's a waste. Somebody please give this brother an I.O. Come on.
I told y'all before, I need to feel y'all's energy. Stop sitting on y'all hands and get this place lit. Like I said, bring the energy.
Yeah, you know what time it is. I'm raw with them boys of the fall. You know what time it is. On the ground with a nose for the ball. You know what time it is. Blood, sweat, and them tears for this game. Leaving it all out on the field with no fear for you lame. You know what time it is. I'm brawl with them boys of the fall. You know what time it is. On the ground with a nose for the ball. You know what time it is. Blood, sweat, and them tears for this game. Leaving it all out on the field with no fear for you lame. It's Buckeyes by a billion. We in the building with over 100,000. We represent from the... What's up, everybody? What's good? You know we've been waiting to get on this show to talk to y'all since Monday, man. You know we've been waiting eagerly. A lot has happened this past week, and we're going to talk about it. But regardless, we are the national champs, baby. That's the bottom line. All the haters, all the noise, all the shifting and staff and whatever, it don't matter. We are going to celebrate this national championship on our first pod since winning the championship. Funky, how are you feeling, brother?
What's up, B Moses? I'm on top of the world. What a performance by our Buckeyes. It was dominant. It was dominant until the third quarter with 3 minutes left, and then Notre Dame kind of got a little bit back into the game. But that was a clear, indecisive victory for the Buckeyes. We were up, 31-7? Oh, B Moses has left us. But with 31-7, 31-7, 34-7. It was, that was dominance. Right when you go up 20, or it was 20, we up 24, and that game is pretty much over. So not much to say other than I'm so happy for Ryan Day. He's earned himself a lifetime contract from Ohio State, and he really just proved all the haters wrong. This was the single greatest stretch of games in the history of college football. It doesn't get much better than beating Tennessee when they're at their best this whole entire last 20 years. Then you go and beat Oregon's best team, maybe of all time. And then you go and beat Texas's best team since 2006, 2007, or a while ago. And then you go and beat Notre Dame's best team since 2012, Bama. So what a performance! Just so happy to be a Buckeyes fan. It was a surreal. What a great first season to be on the podcast. But man, I know people say it felt short, but now I'm looking back at it and it felt like 3 different years all on top of one. I feel like my blood pressure has gone up a ton since the start of the season.
Definitely. And forgive me for the technical difficulties. My camera's acting extra trash right now, but y'all can hear me. I'm still here. I have not been abducted by aliens, so bear with me. We still going to get it going while I work on it. But yeah, bro, it definitely, you said 3 different seasons. That's exactly how it felt. Some people on the outside are saying, hey, this felt like it was too long. I'm like, well, not for those who are, enjoying the ride. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't too long for me. Actually going to the Tennessee game in the stadium, enjoying that, watching the games on TV. It was definitely an adjustment. This was clearly the longest season we've ever had. But as a Buckeye fan, the ride that we went on, especially at the end, was incredible. It has been incredible. So, one thing we preach to y'all is to make sure you don't miss
make sure you don't miss the moment with clinging to negativity or clinging to, just whatever you want to cook up in your mind that may override the positivity. And I hope y'all enjoyed this ride, man. It was some bumpy, very bumpy moments on this ride, but the end to me was all worth it. And I'm gonna elaborate on that a little bit later in that comment, because we got a lot of haters out there trying their best to douse our glee and our joy, and it's just pathetic. I've made some memes and videos and stuff like that to counteract it, which which I thoroughly enjoy. But that just comes with the territory. But even with the news today, I'm not going to let anything remotely negative rain on my parade. Period. I went down to the stadium today with my kids, and we enjoyed it. It was great. It was dope to see as a father, your kids being able to soak that in. And 40 years from now, they'll look back, hey, we went to the championship, with dad, and, we experienced all that stuff. Creating moments and memories was just great today. So, yeah, man, I just wanted to respond to that, Funky. I'm going to keep working on my camera, acting janky. But, again, I'm here, y'all.
What? Yeah, I mean, I wish I could go there. Clearly, go to school in Cali, so I couldn't enjoy that moment. But I was watching live. I mean, it's so when Jack made that joke, I was like, what? I thought he's out eligibility, and then he made oh no, I'm not. I was just kidding. But that made me laugh. But the crowd went absolutely bonkers for a second there. But man, it was kind of sad seeing all those guys sit up there and like, just knowing that this is the last time that we'll see them at all in the shoe as Buckeyes. But man, did they earn it. Man, do they earn this moment. And you feel really, you're so happy for the kids. The celebration that they're having, like after the game, after the Natty, it was like heartwarming. And the whole crowd of the Natty was chanting, Ryan Day, Ryan Day,
Yeah.
Ryan Day. That's just stuff that it fixes barriers. It's just stuff. I can't even explain in words how good those guys must have felt. Because if we lose that game, then the season is, I mean, a total failure, to be honest with you. So, but they didn't. They won, and now we were champions for the 9th time of all time. Really, the 8th time since 1970 was interesting to say the least. But the 3rd time in my lifetime, the 8th time according to, or since 1950, since they've been wearing helmets. So I mean, what a time to be a Buckeye fan. It's frankly, it's an amazing time, and we're the odds-on favorite to win it all next year. So it just doesn't get much better than that. Than winning it once. Only thing better than winning it once is winning it twice.
I agree. And did you want to go ahead and into giving some flowers? I think this might be a decent segue, and
Yeah.
we can start with Coach Day, unless you wanted to touch on something else.
The first flowers that I would want to give out would to be Will Howard. I mean, the amount of crap Will Howard's gone since he's became a Buckeye. Like, all these people are pulling at the receipts now, him saying it's natty or bust. And I didn't even agree with that before the season. I didn't think it was natty or bust. But it got to the point during the season after the Michigan game where it was natty or bust. And man, Will Howard played his best football, I mean, of any quarterback in Ohio State history. If we want to talk about winning games too, I mean, I just don't think there's a better stretch of games from an Ohio State quarterback than what he did. I mean, he turned it over really one time. I don't count the Tennessee one because that one was BS. But he was, besides even counting that, it was he played so good versus Notre Dame. He bailed us out so many times in that game, using his legs, throwing the ball on 3rd down, because the run game was good, but it wasn't clicking, especially in that first half, really. It really only started to click after we got the pass game going and the running game with Will Howard going. So he's arguably the greatest quarterback of my lifetime. I know people are going to be like, well, he's not as good as talent as Dwayne Haskins or Justin Fields or CJ Stroud. He's not going to be a top 10 pick. I think he could sneak into the 1st round, but I think that's unlikely. I think he'll be more likely a 2nd round pick. But that's way better than what people were saying before the season. They didn't even say he was going to be drafted, and to me, he's clearly in the first 2 rounds. So that's my first flowers I'll give, and I really do think he was the MVP of the team this year, at least offensively. The quarterback gets that award 99% of the time, but he deserves it. He fully deserves it. He's a true leader, and he's a true Buckeye. And the funky dance is recorded, and it will be.
It's
Oh,
coming.
it's coming later. Yeah, but
I got it
it is
queued up,
happening.
y'all. Don't
Yeah.
worry. Yeah, no, that's cool. Let's do Will Howard then. And again, listen, we only have so much time, so I want to give flowers to over a dozen, like a whole bunch of guys, but we have to limit it to just a few. And so, yeah, well, Will Howard, first of all, from the very beginning of him being brought in, being called McCord 2.0 by uninformed, I'm gonna, I want to say idiots and morons, but that's mean. But idiots and morons. All right. Saying he's Kyle McCord 2.0 was just stupid. You could just see that watching film. And I think he proved that he was the better option, clearly. And, just on and off the field, man, he's just been a great dude, a great leader. He's just one of those guys who knows how to take control in a way that's, that is not overdoing it. The players on the team seem to love him immediately. They took to him, and on the field, he did his thing. He has some tough moments. The pick six. I can't talk today. The pick six against Penn State, for example, and other little things like, come on, Will. But overall, he did a phenomenal job. And yes, Funky, there has been no better run by a quarterback in college playoff history. I mean, by the very definition of the fact that we played more games than any other college football team has ever played. So to be fair, no other team has had the chance to do it. However, he did, and he killed it. And what irritates me is that, analysts, scouts, and even just some fans, haters will try to downplay his performance by saying, well, he has J.J. Smith, or he has all these great weapons. Okay, he has great weapons. But you go and watch film and tell me that he did not absolutely put some of those balls on a dime, dropping dimes in a Coke bottle or whatever the saying is. Like, he had to put the ball there. Those balls he threw, especially in the Tennessee game, pinpoint accurate to J.J. Smith. He had to drop it in there, right? So, don't give me that. So I'm very happy for this kid. This is my hope. Not only did he improve his football life by coming to Ohio State from Kansas State, and you had scum fans and haters talking about, you got Kansas State's quarterback who was pushed out of Kansas State. Good luck with that, right? You know all that stuff. Well, look at him now. He's a national championship winner at The Ohio State University. He's never going to have to buy a drink again in the town. I mean, he's set up for life as far as this fan base goes, in adoring him. And then now I feel like he's going to absolutely kill it in the NFL Combine with, his size measurables, and his skills, and also the interviews. He's going to be a great interview. So I'm hoping that somebody will take a chance on him in the first round. But honestly, I don't see him going past the second, maybe early third, maybe. But before that, what was his draft stock? I mean, what, Funky, fourth, fifth, maybe?
Before the playoffs, it was probably right after the Michigan game was an all-time low. It was probably around the 5th, 6th, 7th round, like in that Stenson Bennett draft range.
Yeah,
after like the Tennessee game, Oregon game, it was like 4th, 5th round. And after that Texas game, it was like we were hearing 3rd round and 2nd round. But after that Natty game, I heard from one guy late 1st round. I heard from the guy I trust the most, 2nd round to a team not named the Los Angeles Rams.
Okay. Yeah, so he's greatly improved his stock. I mean, his life, everything. So, yes, he deserves flowers. He's been great. And he's just been a leader, man, and I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's funny, I was just watching the Kyle McCord. And listen, I have no ill will against Kyle McCord. Okay, he's a little annoying, and I didn't think he was the greatest player, although I did defend him when people try to make it seem like he was the worst player. He wasn't. But anyway, the point is that little everything comes full circle at his little press conference. Remember, he said that, and his voice sounded exactly like that.
Yep. I was about to say you said you had no ill will towards Common Cord. I have ill will towards Common Cord because of that press conference.
Fair enough.
So.
Fair enough. Yeah, that was trash. I didn't like that. I thought it was unnecessary. I thought it was silly. And it's all good. We ended up on the better end, obviously. So I'm very happy about that. But we can move on to the next flowers. And unless do you have someone? Because I was gonna go Coach Day. Do you want to save Coach Day for last? Because I wanted to do like maybe 2 or 3 more and then Coach Day.
Yeah, I personally just wanted what's a 3-word reaction you have to the Will Howard Dr. Pepper commercial? This 3 words. 3 words.
Super duper zesty. Man, listen, the comments on that video from his teammates was hilarious. I mean, even Coach Day said something like, I'm glad this was before what do you say, before the championship or something?
Yeah, but after we won the championship, yeah.
Yeah, that was great. That was great. I saw some Zoolander comments and all that, man. I thought that was hilarious. So yeah. All right. Okay.
Oh, there we go. Nice.
Yeah, I've been working behind the scenes. Now, I mean, for some reason, this battery it says it's full and then it goes dead. I got to figure that out. Hopefully, this one gives me enough juice. But I'd rather be seen than be behind a little black screen. But anyway, so yeah, so let's go into we'll save Coach Day for last of the flowers. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The next person I want to go into. Shout out to 2 brothers. My brother Matt Tweed, I hope you're watching, brother, and my brother Dewan, who I'm always shouting out. We had a little huddle. They were in my mind, in my head, and I was already thinking this, but they really just emphasized it and took it to another level of you got to point this person out. And I don't think they get enough love. And that person is Donovan Jackson. Donovan Jackson, I would have no problem if somebody said he was the MVP of this team. I would have 0 concerns because you got to think about this. Think about the shambles and peril that this O-line was in, right? After we lost, Josh Simmons, and he is an All-American guard. You feel me? Like NFL trajectory has been All-American guard, and you're asked to step over into left tackle. Now, I know they tell the story and, he was humble. And listen, man, that ain't no joke. It's a different position. I'm not going to go into all the details. The point is, it was not easy. It was not easy as far as to actually do the job. And it was not easy to make that decision to say, hey, I'm a senior and I'm switching positions and my draft stock and blah, 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 all that. Okay. Donovan Jackson doing that solidified this line. He had a rough go early on against Abdul Carter. Who hasn't? He's a dog. He might go top 5, okay, on the road, but he still held his own enough. And from that point, he got better and better and better. And I wanted to show y'all just real quick, or at least provide you with the stats I was looking at for Donovan Jackson. I'm not going to go through all of them, but the point is that he absolutely killed it down the stretch. As far as, pass blocking, real quick, Tennessee, 34 pass pro snaps, 0 sacks, 0 hurries, 1 pressure. Oregon, 27 PPS, 0 sacks, 0 hurries, 0 pressures. Texas, 0 sacks, 0 hurries, 0 pressures. Notre Dame, 0 sacks, 0. You get the thing. Against some stout D lines with NFL D linemen. Donovan Jackson was the rock of this team. And I'll tell you this. I was critical of Donovan Jackson coming into this year because, yeah, he was good, but to me, he seemed to I've just thought about big plays where I felt like he didn't come up big, and stuff like that. But he absolutely killed it this year. I'm so happy for that kid, and I think he's about to make himself a lot of money in the NFL. You got something to say about that, Funk?
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about Donnie for a while now, and giving him a lot of credit and his flowers. But, I mean, you can never do enough for the kid. He's just a stand-up dude, and he went from, I mean, at one point this year, he was probably going to be a 3rd-round pick, and now he's penciled into the first round
Yep.
because of the versatility he's showing, where you can put him at guard, tackle, I mean, you can play left guard, you can pretty much play right guard, and here he showed he can play left tackle. So and left, I know Kirk says tackle positions are different, but I mean, I'm sure he could play right tackle if he was really forced to. And at the NFL level, that's so important because of all the injuries that happen. You can only have 53 men on a roster, so having a guy in your roster that you could pencil in at any starting offensive line position and know that you'll have a guy there is gigantic because it doesn't create conflict in the room either. And the fact that he can pull like a guard from to the tackle position, and then he has the wingspan of the tackle, but then he has the strength. The play guard is just you don't build people like Donnie. You build them in a factory. So, so it's just we're gonna miss him a lot because I mean he's such a rare kid and he's so humble. He pretty much gave up being like a first team All-American because he moved the tackle too. If he would have stayed at guard, he could have been a first team All-American. But he didn't. He did it for the team, and he moved up the tackle, and he was risking his draft stock because he could have gone out there and sucked. It's hard. It's a really hard being a left tackle when you have to go against all these great defenders and the Big Ten and the SEC. It's hard, and he just showed out. That was some of the most heroic things I've ever seen.
Agreed. Yeah, absolutely, man. He deserves it. And a round of applause for Donnie, man, for sure. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but even though I'll say Justin Fry deserves some flowers, we can do a whole nother show about that. He caught a lot of flack, a lot of criticism, and I'm not saying he didn't deserve any of it. In the moments, he deserved some criticism. Okay, things weren't working out, but guess what? He persevered. He pushed through. That line, to me, the way they came out of this fiery furnace, this trial, was amazing to me. And I think Funky said on the show weeks ago, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think you were touching on the depth, like how, people would try to say, well, we need more depth in recruiting. And sure, we always need more depth in recruiting. But what we saw this season with these injuries and still winning a championship, to me, shows evidence of depth currently. And Funky pointed that out, did you not, earlier this year?
Yeah, we went through before or after the Tennessee game, we were going, was it 9 deep? Like we went 9 deep in our offensive line. I don't think any team in the country could have done what we did.
Yeah, exactly. And I agree. So, and real quick, I see Jason Smith saying Fry is good at coaching. I know the knock on him is recruiting. One thing I'll say, and we'll move on, is that I think what helps certain coaches as they're cutting their teeth and trying to establish themselves is when you have a season like this, it really, in my opinion, is a ripple effect going forward for recruiting, because you can point back and to say, look what I did here. Look at the development here. Look at what happened. That's impressive. To me, I think this is going to help his recruiting going forward. And I think we're going to see that help pretty soon, actually. I think we made some really good impressions on some O-linemen. I know Guthrie is being visited tomorrow. And then the kid, is his name, what's his name? Max. I got to pull up his name. But he was here, for the celebration. So I'm telling you, like, even check out Heartline. Like, Heartline, after a while, just started recruiting off of just his lore. And, like, look at what I'm doing here. You know what I'm saying? Like, after a while, you start to establish, a reputation. And I think Fry put a big notch on his belt going forward for the recruiting piece, because you're right, Jason, he is a good coach and his players love him. And I'm so happy for him too, man, for pushing through, man, and getting through the heat, because he was under some heat.
Well, hopefully he stays a Buckeye. I'll leave it at that. But
Max Riley, thank you. Thank you, Ray. Thank you. Yeah. So next one I wanted to do, if you good with that, Funk, is Trevon Henderson.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, let's talk about Trevon Henderson. And again, there's so many we could talk about. There's only a few. There'll be probably maybe one or two more, and then Coach Day, and then we'll move on to some other stuff. But Trevon Henderson, let me quote my homie Alex from one of my chats. I'm in many chats, college football chats. Alex said he had the quietest legendary career, is what he said. We were looking at his numbers and, his production. And this is despite him being injured. He's battled the injury bug, for his first few years. You know what I'm saying? And so to see him, this whole Quinshawn Judkins, to quote Herb Street, Quinshawn Judkins, it's Judkins, Herbie. But anyway, to for him to accept and be humble enough to bring Judkins in, that really, really, really worked out in his favor and in Judkins' favor. I mean, he was fresh the whole year. That daggone 75-yard screen pass he caught for a touchdown, he was a blur. I mean, at the end of the season to look that fast and fresh. I mean, I'm just so happy for this kid. And listen, I'll just say this. Look, I know every single time he touches that mic, he's praising God. He's sharing his testimony. I've seen people, well, you stop with the Jesus stuff. And, we've had people on Twitter, well, this is why the team lost, because they're soft, because they like to pray and all that other stuff. I think that was smashed up, done away, and made to look stupid. I think this team was tough partly because of their faith in something higher than them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just happy to see him be vindicated on all levels. And he's just a positive dude. I mean, he clearly, God has touched his life. Some of y'all may not agree, whoever, it don't matter. Trey Henderson's life has been impacted by the gospel of Jesus Christ. That is evident. I don't care who you are. He is clearly impacted. And he's just like, yo, I have to share this with others. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's going on with him. But it's just such a pleasure. He has increased his draft stock as well, y'all. Listen, let me get your thoughts on this, Funk, because before the season, because of the inconsistency with injuries, what were you thinking? What were you thinking? Third round, maybe sneak into the second because of his combine performance. I think he might low key be a late first round, second round for sure at the worst. What you think?
Trevon, the biggest stat for me for him that I never questioned his toughness, his explosiveness, his vision, his running ability, his pass catching ability. But the two things that he improved on this year that he was always decent at, but he really improved on this year is he didn't fumble the ball at all. He had another full season where he didn't even, I'm not even sure if he had a loss, or I knew he didn't lose a fumble. I'm not even sure if he even fumbled it this year. And the second one is pass pro.
Yes, pass pro.
He was absolutely electric in pass pro, which is just, the NFL is a passing league. You need to be able to pass the ball in the NFL. You need to be able to block for the quarterback. So pass blocking for Trevon that'll single-handedly give him a long, long career in the NFL. Who knows? I was always higher on Trevon than others because I saw what he did when he was healthy, and I really think that Tony Alford and even Ryan Day was holding him back for a while, and he just got so unlucky with some injuries. It was fractured ribs and just random stuff that you can't even control. It's not like he tore his ACL, which is something you'd actually be concerned about. Breaking a rib, that's just you break a rib, it'll heal up, you'll be fine. So, but I mean, we'll see where Trevon gets picked. Mel Kiper had him ranked 8th best running back in the class, and that was the most dumb thing I've ever seen in my whole entire life. I truly don't think I would say Trevon's the best running back in the class. I truly think that. I mean, I really, 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 really do think that. I wouldn't pick Ashton Genty over Trevon Henderson. I just wouldn't for a lot of reasons. Main reasons: he's not as explosive as Trevon. He is not as good as a pass catcher as Trevon, and he doesn't pass pro as well as Trevon, and he doesn't take care of the ball as well as Trevon. Trevon ran for over 7 yards a carry. So that's absurd. You can't teach that. And that's a credit to Chip Kelly as well. But I mean, we'll see where Trevon gets picked. It'll be weird. It's gonna surprise me no matter what, I feel like.
Yeah, I think it depends on the system of who's picking.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because Genty's dope. I'm not gonna lie, he's dope. But Henderson is more versatile. Clearly, because one thing we didn't touch on is his receiving ability. He has great hands. He can catch the ball. And in space, he's a terror. And so Yeah, it depends on, I guess, if somebody falls in love with him and they have a system that would fit him more so than what Genty would do. Also, Genty's competition was not on the level of Henderson's competition. So I think that's a good argument as well. But both are great backs. But I do think Henderson has the higher upside because of all the different things he can do. But Genty's dope. He cold. I ain't gonna lie.
But Genty
Um,
fumbled it more times in the first Penn State than
yeah,
Trevon fumbled it in 4 years at Ohio State. And not lost fumbles, but fumbled it, period. He put the ball on the ground 3 times versus Penn State compared to Trevon put it twice in his whole entire 4-year career.
yeah, straight up. No, I agree. I definitely agree with you. And I see the chat. I do like Peoples a lot, man. I think Peoples is going to be really good. I mean, he has great speed. I mean, he's physical. He'll continue. He flashed a lot this year. He'll continue to be even better. And then Donaldson from West Virginia, if he stays healthy, West Virginia fans have warned us that he's injury prone. If he stays healthy, he's going to be a heck of a short yardage back. And so, yeah, the top two backs of those guys, and I know Bo Jackson's coming off an injury and all that, but yeah, I'm very optimistic about our backs next year. The next one I wanted to do before we got today is Jack Sawyer. And so we'll dive into that. And I'm especially, I chose Jack Sawyer because to me, I feel like he's I said Donovan is the rock of this team. I think Jack Sawyer is the heart and soul of this team. And the fact that he was the catalyst to bring these guys back, he was born and raised here. He was also the first recruit, that went to Coach Day when he took over. I mean, we know all the stories. I mean, from everybody, I haven't had the pleasure of meeting him in person yet. I believe I will. I believe I will have the opportunity. But from everyone I spoke to said he's just a down-to-earth, humble dude, man. Just a gracious dude. And I know production-wise, starting off his career, people wanted to, he's Bosa, the 5-star from here, another Bosa. Well, not exactly. And, we could point to some things with the scheme and the defense and the switching coordinators and all the other stuff. But I'll tell you what, he came on when we needed him the most. What did Urban Meyer used to say? When we needed you the most, you gave us your best. Wasn't that the quote he used to say? And that's exactly what Jack Sawyer did. He's officially a Buckeye legend. We saw him become a Buckeye legend with that Texas strip sack. I mean, literally in real time, we saw him ascend. And it was so beautiful to see. I couldn't be happier for a guy for what he's done. And yeah, man, Captain Jack Sawyer here in Columbus, man, out of Pickerington North. I love it, man. Great dude, great dude. Happy for him. What's your thoughts, Funk?
I mean, you nailed that one on the head. You can't. It's Jack Sawyer is going to be forever a Buckeye legend for that play versus Texas, especially because, two things. Texas is one of the biggest brands in college football. What they did evaluations on how big a football program was. Was Texas second from my memory? Ohio State was first, like 1.9 billion, and I think Texas was second, like 1.8 billion or something like that. And in Texas versus a former Ohio State quarterback, and he did that play. He'll be remembered at Ohio State for years and years and years and years and years. And what he did, protecting the O on that game on November 30th, and then what he did in the playoffs, and then his segment he wrote before the national championship. He'll be remembered forever, as he should. And he's going to have a very successful career in the NFL because he can get to the quarterback, he can play against the run, and he's a big physical kid. He's going to have a long career in the NFL. He'll be there for 10 plus years in the NFL, and he'll make $200-300 million. So, and hopefully he gives back that to Ohio State, as all these players will probably.
Oh, yeah,
so,
for sure.
No, but yeah, him and JT. I want to throw JT in that in a second. Jack Sawyer and JT, brothers, very similar players, really. At least Ohio State used them very similarly. We can argue that later. I'm not going to do this show, but maybe in the next show I might talk about that more. About how maybe we held them back a little bit. But they did what they could, and they won us a natty. The goal is complete. The mission is complete. And both these players are going to have long, successful journeys in the NFL. And just so happy for them. And I can't wait to see where they're drafted. I think one of them will be a first-round pick, and one of them will be an early second. That's my prediction.
Yeah, and either way, I think all of them improved their draft stock. That includes Cody Simon, who was phenomenal, just absolutely phenomenal. To see his growth, he waited his turn. He came back and became an absolute legend. Just so happy for these seniors, man. Thank you, seniors. Thank you for sacrificing, things that could have been greener on the other side, going to the NFL, whatever. You came back and, you endured some challenges, but you pressed through and delivered an epic run we've never seen in college football ever. So I'm very, very grateful as a fan for that, which leads me to Coach Day. I want to say a few things about Coach Day and his family. So first and foremost, like this whole back and forth about, fire Coach Day and, the pressure he's been on with the scum game and all that other stuff, I mean, I've said this before, and I may not even be able to get into it, all the detail right now because it's just so much. But his story and his journey has been very, very peculiar and just kind of hard. To me, it's not a black and white thing to me, because you just have things that are there that is just like, wow, like, and this is partly why I wasn't so quick to jump on him. I'm not knocking anybody out there who wanted to have him fired, who vocally and verbally on social media, whatever, said fire day after the Michigan game. I'm not attacking you for that. I may not agree, but I'm not attacking you for that. I understand that was a dark day. I get it. I'm proud to say I have never uttered those words. I've never said that. I've never said fire Ryan Day. Why? I was willing to give Ryan Day at least until after our first time ever playoff game in the shoe against an SEC team in Tennessee to see, okay, listen, we got one more. This can get really, really bad for you and dark for you potentially, Day, if you lose this game. Let's see what happens, brother. Because there was so much about Ryan Day that I was like, you know what? Not only is this his first head coaching job, and it's arguably the toughest job in the country, and the expectations and all that, cutting his teeth at a high-level program, he had to deal with, the worst, craziest, deepest, on-field cheating scandal in college football history. And some of you haters out there can laugh and chuckle all you want. It's the truth. And once everything comes out, you'll see what I'm saying is true. He had to deal with a scum team, that was cheating for 3 years, which contributed to, the knock against him and the woes and he can't beat Michigan. All of that stuff contributed to a lot of what he was dealing with as far as adversity wise. Now, this year, 2024, they lost fair and square. They was just goofy. That's a whole nother thing. But them 3 years, they were cheating. All of that is tainted. I don't trust none of that. I don't give them credit for none of that. And neither does the NCAA per their own words as far as, deeming them guilty of what they're doing. But the point is that I was willing to wait to the very last second for Ryan Day before I said anything like that till after the Tennessee game. And I think he earned that from me, because not only is he a great dude on and off the field, his players loved him. Look at our off the field issues. They don't exist. Look at the grade point averages, these young men that we're sending out into the community. Like, all of that matters to me. Yes, wins matter. That's the number one according to the job. Absolutely. However, everything else matters to me as well. And so to see him come out of that and fight like he did, the quote that he said to his wife, Nina, she said that he woke up one morning after the Michigan game and said, I have no other choice but to fight my way out of this. Man, that's powerful, man. I was like, okay, man, I respect that. Let's do it. And he did it. You know what I'm saying? And through all of that, when people were trying to make it seem like his players were turning on him and, and things were all crazy, his players never turned on him. That is a sign of a leader. When things are at their most adverse and the people that you lead are still with you because they trust you, that is the sign of an elite leader. And so I'm happy and very, very happy and proud to have him as our coach, but I'm also just happy for him and his family, as well as the fact that, the information being released about his family being threatened, his kids being harassed, people call in the house, talk about he needs to do like his daddy did. For those who don't know, his dad committed suicide. Just awful, nasty things. And listen, I understand there's a standard to win games, but there's also a line that you do not cross. I don't care what fan base it is. I don't care who it is. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. So to see him come up out of that and do what he did this year was amazing. And to me, as I end my rant, I think this will help to really take what's the word? I don't want to say pressure off. I think this will be a battery pack in his back to attack that game even better going forward. So I'll just end with that, Funky. I know that was long, but I had to get that out.
No, spot on again, B. Moses. I agree with you. I wasn't on the. I never was pro fire Ryan Day. Clearly, after the Michigan game, I can understand people's frustrations, but I still wasn't on that train. I was one game away from that train, though. So
Yeah.
if we lost to Tennessee, I would have been on that fire Ryan Day train, but we didn't. And he didn't just beat Tennessee, but he beat Oregon, beat Texas, and then won the national championship. So that earned him a lifetime contract. You can't fire a national championship head coach, especially one like Ryan Day, who didn't just win a national championship, but now he has the highest winning percentage from a college football head coach since they didn't start wearing helmets, 1950. So Ryan Day is an absolute. Since 1950, and if you play a minimum of 50 games as starting at the FBS level. So I'm not counting any FCS schools or any of that. He's been one of the best FBS or the best FBS head coach in the modern era. So absolutely, insane. And all those crazies out there calling for like the death of Ryan Day, like legit calling for him to do that thing to himself is, absolutely horrible. And I'm glad that we're part of a company and a board where we don't tolerate any of that stuff. And we would never, ever, ever let people go on our board and say that, or even people that go off our board and say that publicly on Twitter. We would never let those guys ever even come near our site, our YouTube channel, because I know Nevada and Kirk have dealt with those the same people calling for that for Ryan Day are the same people that have harassed Kirk in Nevada before, and we don't let them near our program. And I'm very, very happy that at Buckeye Scoop we don't let people like that, unlike other Buckeye websites.
Yeah, definitely, man. No tolerance for that at all.
Mm-hmm.
There's fans and there's crazies, and nah, we ain't on it. And on my platform, as long as I have access to a platform, I'm going to call them out. I'm going to put them out there, expose them, to shame them. We need to bring back a level of shame, y'all. There's not enough shame. People need to be shamed for some of this stuff. If you just can't flat out get your hands on them and throw them in a jail or something. I don't know, but craziness. But anyway, all that to say is, flowers. There's so many more we can give out. I know we're missing a lot of people, but I wanted to highlight those. And, we got to appreciate it, man. They help bring a lot of memories and happiness to a lot of people in the state of Ohio and beyond. And they sacrificed a lot. And again, these people are human beings with families. So we have to remember that. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to criticize a coach. They're not beyond being criticized. But when you go further than that and you start touching people's families, then, I'm saying, it's a whole nother level. So I respect everything these men did for this school, this university, and this state, and all that. So, we're getting kind of up on time, although I think Nevada and Kirk already went earlier, so we can go a little longer. But we definitely want to get into the Humpty Dance. We'll briefly touch on those. We're going to briefly touch on those because I'm not going to let that ruin my day. I know it's news, but we're not going to let that ruin our day. Now, do you want me to go ahead and do y'all want to see the Humpty Hump Dance now, or you want to wait till after the nose? Let me see in the chat.
It's something else.
Who wants to see the Humpty Dance right now? Man, listen, I cannot wait to show y'all this.
It's bad.
Lord. Yasserel LG. Yes. I'm waiting for the dance. Yeah. Now. Oh man. All right. So let me go here and get it queued up. Gonna
Oh
remove
Lord.
my
Oh Lord, that's horrible.
ladies and gentlemen, Funky
That
Buck.
that is horrible. That
Bro,
is
you
so
about to break the internet, man. That is
oh no.
hilarious.
That goes nowhere. I'm
All
just
right,
kidding.
so just real quick backstory. And then Studley Butley, you can chime in and bring clarity, but I think it was Studley Butley. He was talking on the chat about, I think he said something about Funky's name reminded him of the Humpty Dance or Digital Underground and whatnot. And it kind of morphed into a thing where we said Funky's gonna do the Humpty Dance if we win the national championship. And so we won the national championship, and guess what? Funky Buck did the Humpty Dance, and it was hilarious, worth every second.
And I got my
Oh man!
tattoo appointment set up, Moses. So
Oh,
I'll
that's
make
right.
sure to send
You
the
getting
photo.
tatted?
I'm
Yes,
getting
please
tatted.
send it.
Oh,
Please
it's
send
gonna be great. Yeah.
that.
That was so bad.
It
I
was
so,
so bad. It was so good.
it's
Like
so
that's what
good.
makes it so good.
And I rewatched. I did it, and I was like when I was doing it, I was like, oh, that probably looked great. And then I watched the video over before I sent it to be Moses, and I was like, oh Lord, it's horrible. This is. I do not know how to dance. I never claimed I know how to dance, so I'll leave it at that.
Funky Buck setting white guys dancing
Yeah,
back for 100
seriously,
years.
I did. Yeah.
Yes, Kentaco Hut. Funky Buck is a Lannister for you Game of Thrones people out there. He is a Lannister. He always pays his debts. Best believe. So listen, all right. Couple other things. I want to touch. I actually have a video, like a minute long video. I made it for the scum haters that are flocking all the Ohio State pages to come and hate and and try to rain on our parade and all that other stuff. I might play that in a little bit and we'll talk about that. But you want to go ahead and quickly breeze over this Knowles stuff because Jim Knowles is not about to ruin my day, just for the record. But it's news, so we will briefly touch on it. You want to go ahead and hit that?
I'll briefly touch it. Uh, Clearly, Jim Knowles had some sort of beef, or we've known this for a while. He has some beef inside the staff. Clearly, it was probably bigger than we thought it was, and he made a decision to move on to Penn State. It wasn't a money thing. Ohio State gave him the biggest contract extension in assistant coach history. It wasn't talent thing. We clearly have the talent. He went to a lesser school over us. I personally think I'll just say this real quick. I personally think there's way more to the story, and I think that I truly think this is not coming from a source. This is just coming from what I what I just hear around the program when I talk to players and them, and just from facts. And but it's an opinion. It's an opinion. This is why I'm underlying that before. But I think Jim Knowles hated the program. I genuinely do. I think he didn't like the fans. I don't think he. I don't think he liked some of the coaches, and I think he just felt like he wasn't appreciated enough. So he decided to move on to a lesser job. Fair enough. One thing I'll say, we're like Kirk said yesterday, we're a cruise ship. Jump off the cruise ship. What does that do? Nothing. It does nothing. We're a cruise ship. We're moving on. I'm more worried about losing Chip Kelly, to be honest with you. So if we don't lose Chip Kelly, then I'll be happy. If we lose Chip Kelly and Jim Knowles, then I'll be a little upset. We won the Natty, so I won't ever be that upset. But it's just at Ohio State, we breed defensive coordinators. We've had like one bad one in my lifetime, so I'm sure we'll be fine. And Caleb Downs ain't going anywhere. So not gonna let that rain on my parade. He did what he did. We'll see him November 1st, and I guarantee you the Buckeyes are gonna light him up because our offense next year is just we're gonna light in Columbus. But hey, he went to a place where that game doesn't matter for him. He can lose to Oregon, he can lose to Ohio State, and as long as he just goes 10-2 every year and makes the playoffs, then that's all they care about. Dude, I don't think they actually really care about winning a natty. But Ohio State, for the better or the worse, we got high expectations from the fans, the donors, from everybody around the program that we go in there and win the national championship. And that can drive a lot of people out. but also drives a lot of people in. So we got to take the L's when we get them, and we'll take the W's because there's a lot more W's than L's. So
A lot more, and I agree. And I'll say this to be fair. Thank you, Jim Knowles, for bringing the number one defense to Ohio State, and what you did this season. I'm grateful for that as a fan.
yeah,
However,
no, sorry, I agree with you. He did a fantastic job at Ohio State, but it's always been a players-driven league. So Caleb,
yeah,
I
yeah, no,
guarantee our
no
defense
doubt.
will be fine. Our defense will be top 10 next year still. So
Exactly. I'm just tipping my cap, but he at least
mhm.
deserves that. However, on the flip side, if what I'm hearing about what these rumors are true, as far as the offense and the beef and the feeling slighted, after the Oregon game when you were told to switch things up, and rightfully so, and clearly it worked. I'm a little baffled by that, but it is what it is. Whatever, like Funky said and Kirk said, the cruise ship will keep going. Just like the Saban Bama teams. You brought this out earlier, Funk. They
Mhm.
just kept replugging coordinators in, did not miss a step, and
And
that's
one
what we're
thing,
going to do. Go ahead.
sorry, one thing I'll have to say is like we say this all the time. Timing is everything. Timing is everything. So another thing why I don't think Jim Knowles has some sort of hatred or why I think he has some sort of hatred toward Ohio State is because the timing. He did this 20 minutes after we celebrate the Natty today. Yeah, I mean that alone makes me not like him a little bit because
Yeah, the timing was bad.
the timing is horrible and that was on purpose. Well, that was solely on purpose. He could have waited. I mean, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. There's no rush. We're in January still. The timing was on purpose, and that's what really frustrates me. It's not that he left; it's how he left and when he left.
Got you. And one last thing, and we will move on. Just a few names that are out there. One of the things I've been hearing really, really good things all season about Matthew Guerreri. Who we brought in. He was the co-defensive coordinator at Indiana in 23. He's a disciple of Jim Knowles. He knows the system. The kids love him. He's a really good recruiter. So there's a lot of buzz about just keeping him on and hiring him as the defensive coordinator. That's not in stone. That's just what's being said. Of course, other names, Jeff Hafley. There's Jim Leonard. He's a really good D coordinator. Used to be at Wisconsin. Or is he still at Wisconsin? Is he still at Wisconsin? I can't remember.
Yeah, no, he is.
Yeah, he's
But
still at Wisconsin.
that will be interesting. I've
Yeah,
heard one thing about that, nothing too loud, but Wisconsin's in the ditch right now, so
yeah.
that's what I'll say.
Yeah, and there's a few other names. But again, for the sake of time, we'll move on. We just at least wanted to touch on that. At the end of the day, I'm not worried at all. I'm not concerned. This is what happens when you win ships. Goofiness will ensue at times as far as losing guys on your coaching staff. It happens. It's a part of the beast. We are going to be just fine. We have been just fine for years, and we will continue to be just fine. So I'm not tripping about that. I am celebrating this natty still. I'm still basking in the glory. You feel me? It's all good. Now,
Absolutely.
go ahead before go
I
ahead.
was gonna say one last. Chip Kelly will either take the Houston Texans job if he gets offered it, or be back with the Buckeyes. And if Chip Kelly does go to the NFL, then expect Ohio State to offer Brian Hartline, and because Brian Hartline is he's the next head coach at Ohio State. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, that would be dope for the future for sure. And yeah, I know Kirk and Nevada didn't go earlier. I mean, they went earlier, not now, so we may go a little longer. But as we transition, I do want to talk about this about Scum fans because it's just funny that they're trying to spin the narrative and say, well, you can't stop talking about us or thinking about us with all your posts. But what's happening is Buckeye fans are literally or have been literally posting celebratory things online, right? Hey, we won, whatever. And then here comes by the droves. Somebody earlier said, I got a bunch of trolls on my page. By the droves, here come the scum trolls with 13-10, and your natty's fraudulent, and you didn't win your conference, and all types of stuff. And so we respond with memes and comments and whatever. And so all of a sudden, we're the ones that you're living rent free. Nah, buddy, don't try to spin this. With that said, I made a little something I'm about to play for y'all right now.
No one's going to say Michigan-Ohio State doesn't mean anything. Of course it does. But if you can lose that game and then win 4, you know what's cooler than gold pants? A gold trophy.
Together at the mountaintop, champions of college football.
Ohio State is the national champion. All you can run around and say, well, at least we beat the national champion. That's all you can say. You ain't hoisting no trophy. You ain't getting no damn ring for beating the daggone national champions, the Ohio State Buckeyes.
All right. So I had to make that for the haters, man. And shoot, you can go on my page, Buckeye Sports Talk with B. Moses on Facebook, and see the responses to that, and they still trying to spin it. But that made them super mad. They're so insufferable and miserable. They hate so much. This is what it is, Funky. This is the core of what it is. They hate it so much that in past times, that loss would have ruined our season, but it didn't. It's arguable and probably a fact that it invigorated and just lit a fire under us to cause us to win the title. And on the flip side, no matter what they say, their title is still in question. It's under investigation. And if justice is served, it will be redacted, done away with, vacated, all of that stuff. And some of them know that. And so they're trying their hardest and best to just grasp for straws and ruin our joy. But nah, buddy, we got bars for you. We got memes for you. We got videos for you and all that. But I wanted to play that, man, because it's just been extra goofy on social media with these scum fans, man.
It's just funny because it's like I've said it before. I'll say it again. Ohio State doesn't invite people back to the shoe for beating scum. Ohio State doesn't invite people back for the shoe for winning the Big Ten. Ohio State doesn't invite people back for making the Natty. Ohio State invites you back if you win the national championship. That's all. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I've been an Ohio State fan for long enough to remember all these seasons where we beat scum, won the Big Ten, but it didn't get the job done. And you know how I felt after those games where we didn't get the job done? Upset, mad, angry. So I mean, when I was younger, I would cry. Like it'd be upsetting. I didn't think, we beat scum, we won the Big Ten, what a great year. I was like, no, absolutely not. Like, it's not how I felt. I want to win the big thing. So winning the big thing is the only thing that matters to me, really. You can, I'm old enough and mature enough now to know that, you could not win the big thing and it could be still a good season and people shouldn't all be fired. But the end goal is winning the big thing. You're going to be upset after the season, really, no matter what, unless you win the big thing. So, and we won the big thing, and it's just the new era where the regular season means a lot less, which means the scum game means a lot less, and that's just a fact.
Yes, absolutely. And I think Scott Van Pelt nailed it. And that's why I put it in that clip. When I made the video, I'm like, oh, yeah, I got to highlight this because he nailed it. I have not seen, and this is, again, I brought out the term straw man arguments last week. Scum fans, they're setting up straw man arguments, and they're trying to make it seem like Ohio State fans are claiming that the game doesn't matter anymore. I have not seen one Buckeye fan say the game doesn't matter anymore. We're simply saying college football has changed, and the impact of the game or the outcome of the game does not hurt your season like it used to. That's what Scott Van Pelt was saying. And yes, listen, I'm the biggest hater of the team up north, and I've always been Natty first. Always been Natty first. And again, scum fans try to bring out that poll on the Dispatch talking about how most of them voted for wanting to beat Michigan more than a Natty. I think the mind needs to transition into today's college football world because I believe they answered that question based off what had to be done to get to the Natty. You couldn't win a Natty without beating scum in the olden days or even just recently, but it's not like that anymore. But even in the olden days, I still wanted Natty. Ryan Day keeps bringing up the fact that all the great Ohio State teams, we've got 3 in the last 50 national titles. It's very hard to do. It's not easy to do. And so, yes, we never want to lose a Scum. Hear me clearly. I never want to lose to them. The game is very important from a bragging rights standpoint, from a rivalry standpoint, all of that. However, to me, I'm Natty first. Natty is at the top, period. And y'all can disagree all you want, but that's just how I feel. And I'm going to celebrate this. Ain't no asterisks, ain't no nothing. This is a legit Natty. And lastly, Funk, before I end my rant, there has never been a better playoff postseason run than what we did this year. That's not even debatable. You cannot debate that. Stop bringing up, oh, you lost 2 games. This is more like an NFL model now, y'all. You have to change your perspective because the landscape has changed. This has been the greatest playoff run ever. Not only who we played and who we beat, but how we beat them. Every team by double digits. There's no debate for that. Debate with your mama. Ain't no debate with that. Greatest playoff run ever. Period.
It is funny seeing Scum fans try to joke with us or like where make trolls and like put a asterisk on our title or whatever. Do they know what the asterisk is meant for? The asterisk isn't meant for, oh, you lost a regular season game. No, the asterisk's meant for multi-year cheating scandal. Like it's not the same thing at all. The asterisk is for, hey, there's a pending NCAA infractions case. Guess what? If then hypothetically, I'm not saying this is what's going to happen. I'm not even saying this. I really, truly don't think this is going to happen. But if they come down and NCAA says, oh, it was a nothing burger, but no natty's going to be taken away, then the asterisk's going to go away. That's what happens. But until the NCAA says that, and the whole thing ends, and the natty doesn't get taken away, and it's still recognized by the NCAA and Michigan and the Big Ten and everybody, then I'll be like, okay, sure. They won it fair and square. Good for them. But until that happens, then absolutely not. There's a big, big, big fat asterisk on that national title, and it's at worst pending. It's I like that meme where it has all the cobwebs over it, and it's under investigation. That's what I like saying.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's rich to me that they're saying this stuff all while being on probation, all while being under investigation, all while staring down the barrel of repeat offender status, according to the NCAA rules and laws. Like I'm not even gonna get into it. Point is, I wanted to call this out because they're dumb, and I wanted to show my video because I had so much fun making that video. And I saw somebody's comment earlier about your son or nephew wanted to see it again. So you can go to Buckeye Sports Talk with B Moses on Facebook. It's there. Also the same address on IG there, and also my Twitter, bmoses30. Follow me on all of those. The video's posted there, but I may play it as we go out again as like the ender. If y'all want me to do that, I'm cool with that. But that's where you can find that video at.
I want to talk about one thing before, if we're ending. I'm not sure we're ending right now, but I just want to bring it up before.
We got some time.
Ohio State's reloading next year.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Everybody is returning. That anyone who we thought even could return is returning. The whole guys are returning. There's only one position class that I'm even slightly worried about, and that's defensive end. And even that I'm not really too worried about. But because we're loaded at defensive back, we have arguably the best defensive back room in the nation. Again, we arguably have the best linebacker room in the nation. Again, we arguably have the best defensive tackle room in the nation. Again, I would argue that we should have the best offensive line in the nation next year. I would argue that we're returning 6 starters on the offensive line, which is just unheard of. No other team in the nation is even close to that.
Crazy how things have turned with the O-line now, huh?
No, exactly, yeah. Because now they're all returning. That's the best thing. So they're obviously going to be better than they were this year, post-injury, clearly. Then we got a 5-star quarterback, Julian Sain, who's the truth. From right where I live, Calabasas, San Diego. He's the truth. The kid is him, bro. So I'm can't wait for him to be an Ohio State quarterback and then we have the best wide receiving core in the nation. Clearly, obviously, no debate. Carnell Tate returned. Kudos to him, because that one was looking like a mess. I'm not sure if any of y'all turned into my Twitter space, but I did a little Twitter space that night, just because Nevada and Kirk couldn't go. So I was like, might as well give people somewhat what they want. And there was like 100 or something watching that, which I appreciate every single one of you. And I brought up there, but Carnell Tate passed up on hundreds of thousands of dollars to return to Ohio State. Ohio State took care of him, so don't feel too bad. The kid's not going to be eating ramen noodles, but Ohio State, he still passed up hundreds of thousands of dollars to return to Ohio State. So kudos to him. SFE for life. Just such a great, just a great soul. I'm so happy for him, and it's going to be so it's the best wide receiving core in the nation, and now we have the best. When we also have the best tight end core in the nation this year, and I don't think it's that close with Will Kazmarek, Max Clare, and then Jelani Thurman. I mean, I'm not to be negative. I would assume one of them would transfer. I would assume Jelani would probably transfer. I don't know that. That's literally just purely off my speculation. I've heard nothing, so that's not me knowing anything. That's just me totally speculating. But even with just like Will Kazmarek and Max Clare, that's one of the best tight end rooms in the nation. So, and the running back room, people can be worried about a little bit just because they haven't really played much. But Peoples is him, and running back is one of the few positions in football where you could put a freshman in there, and it's like not that big of a deal. So we have Bo Jackson, who's an absolute stud out of Cleveland, Anthony Turbo out of Alabama.
Forgot about Turbo, yes.
And with him, it'll be like them two, CJ Donaldson from West Virginia and Bo Jackson, oh my God, Peoples. They'll be fine. I mean, who knows? Like, they won't be as good as Quinshawn and Trevon, but that's impossible. So I mean, we'll be totally fine. It's going to be another great year for the Buckeyes. We'll see if we win week 1. But one thing I have to say, this one thing I'll say. This is going to be my take for the whole offseason. Ohio State probably won't be the best team in football for the first 5 weeks of the season. They probably won't even be the best team in football for the first 12 weeks of the season. But I truly think by the time we get to the playoffs and by the time the playoffs get running, that we're going to end up being the best team in football. I just think these young guys are going to need some time. There's going to be growing pains. There's going to be stuff going wrong at the beginning of the year. I know we're so out from it, not to be negative, but it's going to be really hard to beat Texas week 1, as in they're probably the first or second best team in the country with
they're
us.
They're losing a lot, though, bro.
No, I know they're losing a lot, but they're going to have enough. They're still going to be really freaking good, and we're going to be really good too. But don't freak out if we lose that game. Just know it's a long season, and we're going to be the title favorites next year for a reason. Because I really think by the postseason that we're going to be the best team in college football. I think everything's going to be clicking just like this year. I think we have the depth at the O-line. We have a great defensive line. Not great depth, but if some freshmen start to pop off, which they could, I think Zion Grady for sure can make a day 1 impact. I think that for sure could mean a lot. And we got the kid from Idaho. So we can go 6, 7, 8 deep on the defensive line. So I'm not even too worried about that. But that's my take. That we might not be the best team by week 1 or even week 6 or 7, but by the end of the year, we're going to be the best team in college football. Will we win it all? Maybe. I think we'll be the odds-on favorites, but we're just going to have to see how it goes and just relax with the guys. Because the Julian Saint's going to have growing pains. There's going to be stuff that doesn't go perfect like this year, but we're just going to have to deal with the punches, and it's going to be another great year next year.
I like it. I think that's a great take, actually, and a reasonable take based off of what we know. Mickey, you are consistent. Thank you so much for the 1999. Always grateful for that, brother. I'm not even sure. I'm not sure who you are, Mickey, but thank you. I don't know if you're a brother or a sister. I didn't want to speak out of turn, but thank you for that. Studley Butley, belt to asterisk. I love it. That's hilarious. You need to coin that, brother. And then again, shout out to Studley Butley for really cracking off the Humpty Dance stuff, man. That made us have a lot of fun, man, with funky dance. And I gotta go watch that again after I get. I just saw it today for the first time. I was weak, but that was great. And then Sean Krutka, thanks for the $2. Do you think this will affect the spring portal? Can you elaborate and say what is this?
I think you mean Jim Knowles leaving.
Oh, Jim Knowles.
No.
I don't think so. I know there was some worry and concern about players leaving with Jim Knowles. I mean, and I've been busy today, and so maybe I missed something, but I highly doubt any players leave Columbus in this NIL machine, in this team to go to freaking Happy Valley. No disrespect, Penn State. You're a solid team, but no. I'll be shocked. Go ahead, Funk. You about to say
I mean,
something?
they signed NIL contracts, so that's
Right,
one big reason
right.
why I'm not. They re-signed with the foundation. They signed their contracts for next year, so it'd be a lot of mess up. And you really want to leave this team because you got to realize Ohio State's bigger than defensive coordinator. Like, do you really think these guys committed to
Yeah,
Ohio State for Jim Knowles? I mean,
exactly.
I'm sure he's a great coach. Don't get me wrong, but they came in here for James Laurinaitis, Larry Johnson, Tim Walton, Matty G, who's one of the best coaches in the game, Ryan Day, who's the best head coach in college football, if not second with Kirby Smarts, and Chip Kelly, with who's the best offensive mind in the whole entire game, and then Brian Hartline. So they're here for more than Jim Knowles. And I mean, what are they going to do? Go to Penn State? Hell no, they ain't going to Penn State. So
No,
I
certainly.
don't see how what's anything because especially we hire in staff. I think we're going to hire Matty G as our coordinator. That's my best guess. And it's a safety run defense. And if the only player that would ever even question leaving is Caleb Downs, and he's not going to because he's just a good character. He's a good guy. He's not here for that. So no, I don't expect anyone leaving in the second portal that isn't already out the door.
Yeah, no, I agree. I would be shocked, absolutely shocked. I think it's silly talk. I don't even take it seriously, but I could be wrong. We shall see. We shall see. We got about 3 more minutes, and then we'll wrap things up. But thanks, Rolling Coconut, for the $2. B Moses Funky, Kirk B, and Scoop. Thank you so much for that. And yeah, so one other thing I'll say, I mentioned to y'all I'll be shooting a video for the You Know What Time It Is song. For those watching, it was the intro song. And we've already got some things in the works. We got plans in the next couple weeks. You know, we got to get everybody's schedule on the same page, availability. You know, songs featuring Curtis Grant, Ron Lyles. We all need to be together. So we're going to get that going in the next couple weeks. My videographer shot some footage today from the celebration, the B-roll, all that. So we got some stuff going. As soon as I figure out the site or the place where I'll be shooting like the crowd shot, I'm going to put out the call for people to come out, you know, to that shooting if you want to be in the video. So just want to let y'all know I'm still on it. It's still happening. It's just a matter of time. Very, very soon. And Funky, I wish you were here to be in it. In the video, although somebody did say put your Humpty Dance in it, maybe I'll squeeze it in there for 10 seconds.
Oh,
we'll see.
Lord.
We'll see. But yeah, man, is there anything else that we did not touch on or we can maybe touch on quickly?
The one thing, or very quickly, Brady Smeagol, 2026 quarterback. I think he ends up a Buckeye. So that's what I'll say. SoCal Kitty went to Newbury Park High School, which is about 30 minutes away from where I'm at right now. They're, some of the biggest competitors in track and field versus me in my last 4 years. That high school, Brady Smeagol was a starting quarterback for them freshman year, where they beat the crap out of my high school in the first round of the playoffs, in the CIF playoffs 3 years ago, his freshman year. And that day I was like, wow, this kid is an absolute freak of nature. I was literally insanely impressed. And hey, he could end up being Ohio State's starting quarterback. And him and Brady Edmonds are good friends too, who's from Huntington Beach. So they a lot of camping together. So I've watched both of them since they were little youngins, and I think he ends up a Buckeye. But I'm not really too worried about that. But he's an elite player. But only reason why he would be scared off is because Tavian St. Clair and Brady Edmonds are right behind in front of him. So,
yep. We the talent is still flowing in, y'all. We're still gonna be really, really good next year, and I know the haters are not happy about that. It is what it is. We reload. We've been the most consistent program for a very, very long time. The stats bear that out. The numbers bear that out. All of that. So, I think the future is bright. I think it was great that Ryan Day finally broke through. And I think it's only going to go up from here. And on the way out, I will play the video, the Mini Men video one last time. I'm gonna try to upload it to YouTube as well to give it another, access point for those who don't have those socials. But I'm gonna play it one last time, and then we out. And we will see y'all next week. And we're gonna have fun next week too. There's really no true off season with Buckeye football and college football in general. We're going to have plenty to talk about. We're going to have fun with y'all. and we're going to get it cracking per usual. Let me see. Yep, me and Colonel can testify to that, B. Moses. Yeah. Yep. So, all right, cool. I'm about to go ahead and play this joint, and then we will see y'all next week. All right?
All right, peace out, Natty Champs, baby.
Natty
Champs.
Step on me.
No one's going to say Michigan, Ohio State doesn't mean anything. Of course it does. But if you can lose that game and then win 4, you know what's cooler than gold pants? A gold trophy.
Together at the mountaintop, champions of college football.
Ohio State is the national champion. All you can run around and say, well, at least we beat the national champion. That's all you can say. You ain't hoisting no trophy. You ain't getting no damn ring for beating the daggone national champions, the Ohio State Buckeyes.